I want to welcome you to the kickoff of our 15th MACCDC with the virtual job fair today. And I want to thank everybody for joining wherever you are. I hope you're all staying healthy and safe. And I also want to just thank you for your flexibility as this COVID-19 pandemic has been unfolding, and your flexibility and just allowing us to sort of move and shift with the times. So I want to just say a couple things. So that's a picture of me. I'm not going to share my video primarily because I have my home office is stacked with the 14 gazillion million boxes that would have been going to the applied physics lab for the regional finals. I could get fancy like Ron has, our SAIC partner, and have a Zoom virtual background, but I decided against it. So the picture will have to suffice. I just want to spend a couple minutes going over some basics of Zoom. It seems to be the teleconferencing solution du jour. As our center, National CyberWatch Center, we've been using it for a couple years, and just want to point out a couple things in terms of just features and how we'll run this virtual job fair. Before I do that, I do want to say that we are recording this. So if you do not want to be on the recording, then you certainly don't want to unmute your microphone and ask any questions. And we will be making it available via our YouTube channel afterwards. So this is the main Zoom session window. There are different user interfaces for different platforms. And in fact, different platforms have different feature sets. So yours may look a little different depending on the operating system that you're running and whether that operating system runs on a traditional desktop platform or is a mobile OS. So in terms of names, I see most people have identified themselves. There's a couple funky ones. I would like for everybody to rename their accounts, and you can do that by mousing over your name in the participant window. Now, if you don't see a participant window, and you'll notice in the bottom of the Zoom session window, there's an icon that says Manage Participants. And you can click on that. You can toggle that on and off. Same with the chat, a couple icons over to the right. And that will toggle on the participant and chat windows. And when the participant window is turned on, that will allow you to rename yourself. And you simply just mouse over your name and you'll get a mute and a more drop down. You just click the more drop down and you rename. And I prefer you use real names just so I can know who I'm calling on. Muting yourself. Everybody's doing a great job of keeping your microphones muted when you're not either asking a question or answering a question. This will cut down any feedback. And just makes these things run real smooth, and you can just click on that icon in the participant window. If folks can't manage their microphones, then I can do it centrally. And I mentioned toggling on the manage participant and chat windows. They'll appear on the right sidebar. And so I encourage you to do that, especially for asking questions. So you have a couple options for asking questions, and one is you can send that question to everyone. So in the chat window, go back here. I got to toggle back and forth between a couple monitors here, so bear with me. You can notice in the bottom right, type message here, right? The default is to send it to everybody. If you want to send it to me directly, or you want to send it to one of your teammates, then you can click the drop down there and you can select the recipient of that chat message. Everything that is put in the chat window is saved automatically at the end of the fair and is viewable by me. Any private chats are not. So if Nicole sends a private chat to Miriam, I don't see those. If you have if you're in some sort of low bandwidth situation or environment, I would encourage you turning off your video. We don't really need video from the participants. It's good to have if you want it, but I'm not going to be using mine just because I'm managing so many monitors. I don't want you to see the 4,000 boxes in my office. All right, so any questions around using Zoom, asking questions, muting yourself, anything else related to Zoom? There are a couple other icons you can use. If you click the ellipsis in the bottom of the participant window, there's a thumbs up and a thumbs down. You can use that if you want to answer, you know, is everybody hearing me? Thumbs up, thumbs down. You can toggle those on and off, okay? So, all right. So without further ado, what we've all come here for, and that is the virtual job fair. The first job fair we ran was in 2010. That was the 5th year that we ran the Mid-Atlantic Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. And that year, we did it at SAIC. It was a newer facility they had on 95 near Columbia, Maryland. Prior to that, we ran this event we toggled back and forth between Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where White Wolf Security was headquartered, and they helped us run the event the first however many years before they got bought out by Eyesight Partners. And then we ran it at a now defunct bar and grill up in Hunt Valley, Maryland, which is North Baltimore County, for a couple years. And it was very, very grassroots, very DIY, if you will, very much a do-it-yourself ethos, and we didn't have any sponsors, but there, we knew we had something special, and the special sauce for us was experimentation, constantly experimenting with new technologies. So whatever that was, dual IPv4, IPv6 stacks, SCADA systems, voice over IP telephony with cell phones, you name it. And we had a strong red team, and we had a lot of fun. And so in 2010 was the first year we developed a sponsorship package and actively recruited sponsors to help offset some of the costs of the event, which up until this year was primarily handled through a grant from the National Science Foundation, and also then starting in 2010 with external sponsorships. And there's lots of reasons why organizations sponsor this, and there's lots of reasons why we have our 6 sponsors on today. And the main being that, as it relates to this job fair, that they're looking to recruit. Many organizations are trying to figure out how to find talent and to keep that talent and to grow that talent. And these organizations that are here today, they really get it. And what I mean by they really get it is that they get that these events, like the Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, are an opportunity to get access to the best and the brightest, right? To get resumes ahead of time, to do this job fair. The face-to-face regional final that we've done the past 10 years at the Applied Physics Lab, for those that, that unfortunately, if you haven't had a chance to participate in that, there's nothing like it, and even though we've always had virtual assets as part, in addition to the on-prem assets that the blue teams have to manage, there's nothing like the excitement and just being there with the hundreds of people at the Applied Physics Lab. And one of the reasons many of these sponsors also sponsor this event is that, in addition to this job fair and getting resumes and talking to students and offering internships and full-time employment, is they oftentimes will participate in the event itself as red team or on the incident response team, or perhaps they just want to be there and watch the students compete and see how they handle the enormous pressures, the time pressures, the juggling of various competing requirements and tasks, the CEO component, all of it, and and unfortunately that sort of piece gets lost when you go all virtual. But suffice it to say, these are some of the reasons why these 6 organizations have, you know, have continued to sponsor this event. So these are our sponsors. Raytheon is our named sponsor. So for the next 3 years, we will affectionately refer to this as the Raytheon Mid-Atlantic Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. And then Palo Alto Networks is a gold sponsor. You can see 780th Military Brigade, INSCOM, Air Force Civilian Service, and SAIC are silver sponsors. Cobalt Strike is a supporter. So if you're not familiar with Cobalt Strike, that is a product that's used for penetration red teaming exercises. It's an exploit framework. In fact, Raphael Mudge, who came out of the Delaware National Guard, wrote that as, so he was part of the, not only the Mid-Atlantic Red Team in previous years, but the national CCDC Red Team. And he wrote Cobalt Strike to help with doing red teaming at CCDC. So that's a product that got born out of the need to be able to organize red teamers doing their work in a CCDC event. It's a commercial product. They've recently been acquired. And Raphael's been a longtime supporter of this event, not only our region, but the national, and they give free copies of that to the red teamers. And then Bogdan Computer Services, Mike Doherty specifically. Mike's been around for 14 years. He was a student at the Community College of Baltimore County, and he built the first couple networks as a student. So those are our sponsors, and I want to thank them. All right, so let's shift gears now. So how this is going to work. So in the next, whatever, it's what, 12:15, in the next hour or so, we're going to go in order, starting with Raytheon, and each sponsor is going to do a short briefing, somewhere between, you know, a couple minutes to 10 minutes. And they're going to talk about all sorts of things. They're going to talk about their organization, what they do, what their mission is, why they like to be involved with this event, the kinds of jobs or internships they have, why you might want to work for their organization, and et cetera, et cetera. All right, and we're going to be going back and forth between their screens and mine. So there'll be some transition, and the order will be this. So we'll go in this order here. All right, and feel free to ask questions while they're presenting. But then what will happen after that ends is some of the sponsors, Raytheon, SAIC, and the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab, the last bullet there, they have their own, if you will, sessions set up for participants that want to go and learn a little bit more about what Raytheon, SAIC, and APL is offering in the way of jobs, and just, you know, provide a dedicated platform for participants to go in a more informal, sort of intimate setting than this larger group, and ask questions and meet with them. And I'll make those URLs available to their WebEx and their various platforms they're using towards the end. For the other sponsors, PA, Air Force Civilian Service, and the 780th Military Intelligence Brigade will stay here. And we'll go in order. AFCS will go first, INSCOM will go second, and I'm sorry, PA will go first, AFCS will go second, and 780th MI Brigade will go third. And they'll stay here, and they'll get more time to essentially, you know, talk about what they're looking for. And that's where we'll use the time for more QA. So what I would encourage you to do is, initially, if you're interested in learning about what Palo Alto's got in terms of jobs and internships and Air Force Civilian Service and the 780th Military Intelligence Brigade, I encourage you to stay here first for about the first hour or so. You get a chance to have them talk more specifically about their efforts, and that will be an opportunity, really, quite frankly, to do Q&A with them. And then after you've heard their spiel, then I would encourage you to go check out Raytheon, SAICs, and APLs. All right, so are there any questions about how we're gonna how we're going to run this? Go ahead and type those in the Zoom group chat if you have any questions. Crystal clear, huh? Okay, perfect. Well, all right, so I'm going to get out, Raytheon is up first, and I'm gonna get out of my screen here. I'm gonna go over here. So they want me to play a video before I turn it over to John and Jen. So I'm going to do that.
The National Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, or NCCDC, is where the best 10 teams out of the 234 teams that are competing across the nation come to find out who is the best. Competitions like NCCDC are so important because in the 13 years we've been running, we've been helping the next generation of cyber defenders get ready for the real world. What the students take away from NCCDC is the ability to understand what it's like to live through a horrendous incident where everything is down and all your data is exposed. We have what I consider to be one of the best red teams there is. They test these teams to see, do they have the ability to not only handle the business aspects of keeping a network running and keeping it secure, but responding to what a real attacker is doing in a live fire scenario. So we have real defenders that are trying to make things work, and you have real attackers who are doing things that are not commodity and are not part of the normal marketplace. It's important the industry get involved because if they want the next generation to be exposed to their technology, understand how it fits into the overall picture, and be able to use it effectively to understand how it will be used, and more importantly, make sure it works. There is no better environment because cybersecurity is a problem for everybody. Everyone from the cloud to Internet of Things to individual devices to mobile devices, the threats are everywhere. What the sponsor is going to get is not only exposure to the next generation of people who are going to be using their products, but they're also going to get exposure to their industry peers. But more importantly for the sponsors, they get a chance to recruit the next generation of the best talent out there. If you want to make sure that your technology is going to defend the network, this is the place to be. If you want to make sure your technology is being exposed to the next generation, this is the place to be. And if you want to be seen as a leader to the next generation and the rest of the industry, this is the place to be.
Great. So I'm going to turn it over now. Let me get my slide deck back up here. And I want to turn it over to John from Raytheon.
Thanks, Casey. And I'd like to say welcome to the Mid-Atlantic Regional for the 2020 National Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm John Check. I lead Raytheon's cyber protection solutions, so that focused on government as well as commercial customers. It takes a lot of work to pull this competition together in normal circumstances. And I want to thank Casey O'Brien, the National CyberWatch Center, and the Johns Hopkins University and Applied Physics Lab team for all their efforts to continue with the regional virtually in this new reality we're all facing during the pandemic. For the past 15 years, NCCDC has provided real-world cyber defense experience for thousands of college students at this point. Raytheon believes that hands-on experience is required to develop that next generation of cyber leaders. As cyber threats continue to grow in sophistication, organizations face a persistent challenge in recruiting skilled cybersecurity professionals capable of protecting systems against the threat of malicious actors. Our adversaries have always used natural disasters as an opportunity to attack when our focus is elsewhere, and COVID-19 has proven to be no different. With cyber criminals now responsible for billions in losses per year, and state-sponsored hacking groups posing an ever greater threat, the need for individuals capable of securing networks against attackers has never been greater. As I mentioned, threats continually evolve and technologies come and go, but the people are the constant thing. People are at the center of today's most publicized security incidents, the human point of interaction between critical data and intellectual property, where technology is most enabling and security is most vulnerable. We've heard about the threats that Zoom has been facing, can undermine even the most comprehensively designed cybersecurity systems in a single malicious or unintentional act. Raytheon believes that the companies and government agencies have a critical role to play in the development of next-gen cyber talent. Investment in NCCDC allows students to put hands on keyboards and implement concepts taught in the classroom in a safe environment against the best in the industry. Being part of competitions like NCCDC really makes you stand out to us at Raytheon, and I applaud your commitment to sharpening your skills in a field that is constantly evolving. Many of you have given up your free time to participate and prepare for this competition, but then again, we've all been stuck at home a while, so you may have had more free time in your hands after 20 days in captivity. All of you should have received and will receive a link to the RTN, the Raytheon Virtual Career Fair, and I encourage you to take the opportunity to chat with our hiring managers directly. We have probably 10 plus hiring managers across multiple disciplines, so it's a real good mix of folks to talk to. Finally, I'd like to say have fun over the next few days and best of luck to you all. Thanks, Casey.
Thank you, John, Jen. Thank you for your leadership and your support over the years. Okay, Jim, Palo Alto Networks, you're up, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, all the students, for participating in the MACCDC and honing your cybersecurity skill sets, because we certainly need them right now, especially so in the COVID-19 world, where most of us, including myself, now I've worked from home for since I've joined this company, but a lot of us out there in the working world, a lot of people out in the working world are doing everything remotely now. And this is where we really need the network even more and more, right? So it's more and more critical. So by participating in these competitions, they're outstanding competitions. I used to coach teams that participated in competitions. When I taught at Alfred State College, we participated in the NECCDC. What I like about them is it's a great marriage of the technical skill sets and the soft skill sets. You know, we need them both. In any type of career field, you need them both. And so this is a great competition. And also the teamwork, right? You got to work together as a team. I know my students that participated in this competition, they were way, way better. So this is great that you're doing it, taking the time out to do this. And it's extra time on your part too, right? Because you have to do your studies, you still have to do your tests. This is extra time, but it'll be well worth it. And your job, just like Raytheon said, is your job expectations will be a lot better by participating in a competition like this. So a little bit about Palo Alto Networks. We've been around for over 10 years now, and we started out as primarily a firewall-centric company. And we've pivoted, and we pivoted really, really fast. In the last year and a half, we pivoted because of what's happening out there in the world, right? We have this migration to the cloud that's happening, and it's very exciting, but it's also upending not only the way we do business from an IT perspective. When you think about DevOps, when you think about continuous integration and continuous deployment, when you think about serverless computing, on a cloud service provider, serverless computing means there's no server. So how do you provide cybersecurity for an environment where there's no servers whatsoever? All that infrastructure is hidden and obscured and managed by the cloud provider. So that's, but you still got to do it. You still are responsible for your data. So that's that's where we've been rushing, to provide products, and it's very, very exciting, some of the things we're doing. So if you take Palo Alto Networks, we're divided into 3 core areas, and the first core area is Strata. And with Strata, that's our enterprise. That's traditionally, that would be our firewall, our traditional hardware firewall. And we got jobs that are opened in there, and I'm trying to locate here my little page. Yep, here we go. My little notes, so I can read from them and give you an accurate description of what we're looking for from skill sets. So that's what I'm going to talk about now. In these core areas, what skill sets are we looking for? So if you look in the Strata, like I said, that's where our hardware appliance. We're looking for people that have a good understanding of Python, C programming, networking. I will tell you that, it's kind of interesting, the way everything's developing, right? There's no doubt, and I used to tell my students this, there's no doubt that programming is the core of IT, right? But it's also, you got to know networking. And when you come to competitions like this, that's where the networking guys say, hey, I need to know something in scripting or else I'm going to be obsolete. And you got the software guys, software application development saying that, hey, I need to know something in networking, or else maybe my stuff runs, but it doesn't run. I can't connect to anybody, so it's worthless. So you need what we're finding is that there's a slight it's harder to find people that have some basic networking skill sets right now. So I encourage you, especially if you're haven't graduated yet and you don't intend to, is make sure you put some networking into your curriculum, no matter what you are, no matter if you're programming. And if you're just networking, I encourage you to make sure you know programming, because when you look at infrastructure as code, with HashiCorp's Terraform, Ansible, where you can spin up an entire network with just an Ansible script or Terraform script, you got to understand how that works, and you got to understand how code works. So even though those are kind of declarative scripts, but still you need to understand it. So I would encourage you to do that. So that takes care of the strata position, right? Those are the skill sets we're looking for, which is some Python scripting, C programming, networking. I think if you look at all the core areas I'm going to talk about, there's 3 of them. Well, 4 of them, I'd say. But Python is something that is definitely you should know. So I encourage everybody to learn Python. There's so many ways in which you can learn it nowadays out there that are available to you, not just in the classroom, but also available to you online that are really kind of almost free or very very little. So, okay, so that's Strata. So the next core area that we have, jobs in, that would be Prisma. And Prisma, when you think of Prisma, you think of cloud. We got all these customers that are moving to the cloud. They're using infrastructure as code. They're using Kubernetes. They have images. They got to make sure those images are secure, that they don't have any vulnerabilities in it. And then they got to deploy those images, and they got to monitor those images as they're deployed to make sure that nobody is attacking them. And so in this area, the skill sets that we're looking for would be in Java. This is Java programming, some C programming, because we do have the virtual machines out there, our virtual firewall appliances. That is part of those are protect. I guess they would protect. You could think of them as protecting traditional IaaS type of infrastructure as service type of networks, and some platform as service, where you actually have a network up there in the cloud, in Azure or on your private cloud, and you want to filter the traffic going into your network and leaving your network. So that's virtual firewall appliances allow you to do that, and you're going to have a great opportunity during this competition to use our virtual firewall appliance and hopefully use it effectively to protect your network. I can tell you that it's been a lot of fun, because a lot of these, because of the COVID-19, a lot of the traditional, like the MACCDC, traditional regional competitions that have had that were on site, they've all moved since the last one that was on site and occurred was the Midwest. And that is one that I attended that one. So there's only 2 this year that occurred that were on site. You think about how fast this has happened. I mean, just amazingly how fast this has happened, right? Changed everything in a blink of an eye. It's just phenomenal, right? I mean, and not for the good, obviously, for the bad, but man, just amazing. So, but anyway, getting back, those are only 2 that took place at regionals. The rest of them are pivoting to an online format. A couple of them actually, I think they're canceled. So they're going to figure out some way to include those teams in those regionals. That would be the PRCCDC and the Southwest. So the MACCDC, as we move to this virtual environment, they're using virtual appliances. And I can tell you, I haven't participated in all of them and providing tech advice to students during the competitions, is that the teams that effectively deployed the firewall appliance, those were the teams that did really, really well. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this competition, but not just keeping your services up, but the firewall will certainly help you. So that's a virtual firewall appliance, still in the Prisma. So we still need, so that's a C. That's a C would go for the virtual. We need definitely Python, and then we need some cloud service provider. They're one of the things which I got this year, because we're in this business. It's always it's a continuous learning business. If I'm not learning something new every day, then shame on me. And there's so much to learn, right? We all kind of have, I guess you'd call, the more you know how much you don't know, and then you get the, what they call that, the imposter effect, right? Where you they say, oh yeah, you're a cloud expert. And you think, oh geez, I don't know if I know a lot about clouds, but I will tell you this, you know more than what you think you know. But it's always good to have the imposter attitude, because there's so much more to learn out there in the environment. So in the cloud, public cloud, I got my AWS was it Cloud Solutions Architect Associate. I got that this summer. And there's ways in which you can do this. You can do this, for relatively little cost. I got it through Udemy. Actually, I did the training on Udemy. I think I paid $10 for the course. But anyway, I just bring this up because that is, that these are ways in which you can, hone your skill sets, and you should. And also, we're big with Google Cloud provider. We basically, our Prisma Cloud suite of products, which would include Prisma Cloud, that actually they tie into the API of the cloud providers. That's how they suck out the information and tell you, hey, we think you got maybe some S3 buckets that are publicly available on the internet. You might want to check these out. I mean, that would be a very simple example. But that's the way we do that. The way our products do that is they tie into the API, and we're cloud agnostic, meaning that we tie into the major cloud providers out there. And the major cloud providers out there, AWS, GCP, Azure, those are the major ones. So if you got some skill sets in that, that's good for Prisma as well. And then any type of data science, we look through data in our Prisma Cloud, and especially when I get to Cortex, which is the next section, data science is helpful there. So those are the skill sets we need for the Prisma and the cloud type of environment. So again, this is evolving. This is happening, like when I was a kid, and I'll date myself, I used to come home and they'd have these 50s series of Superman on, and it would be, faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotion. And it would be, that's what I like to say about the migration to the cloud. It's faster than a speeding bullet. And as we go to this new COVID online environment, it's even better than, it's even going faster now than what it has in the past. And one of the products that we have, which is kind of a cool product, is Prisma Access. And essentially what it is we're moving to a cybersecurity as a service model. And what Prisma Access does is you just VPN into our service provider nodes. And you can think of it almost like a content delivery network, but you can VPN into these, and then it links you to a firewall, and you can manage this firewall. And then the good part about it is that you can go directly from this edge network. You can go directly, whether to the internet or back to your company or back to SaaS services. And what makes this really, really cool is the fact that, you don't have any of the latency. So it's not like you're backhauling all the stuff back to headquarters like traditional VPNs were. Now you're just going boom. You're hitting the edge network where the service provider node is, and then you're going to wherever you need to go, and it's going to happen a lot faster. And as you can imagine, we're getting a lot of demand on that now as a service. A lot of companies are looking at this because of the fact that they got all their workforce are working remote. So what better way to do it? I don't have to worry about equipment. All I got to worry about is maybe having a VPN access node, wherever I am, and bam, and that's it. And if you're using clients, it's even, then you don't have to worry about anything, right? You got the client on your machine, and bam, away you go. So that takes care of Prisma, our cloud. Our next core area is Cortex. And Cortex, you think of Cortex, it's the brain, right? So Cortex is where we do security operations. So, and this has just occurred, within the last, I'd say, like I said, within the last year. It's amazing the way the transformation that's occurring. And I think, we hit it too. We hit it the target because this is where everything's going. Still firewall is a big part of our sales. But, as this migration to the cloud, occurs, and this is going to add more and more value. And it's exciting because guess what? It's all new stuff that's going on right now. So if you look at Cortex as a brain, this would be the security operations center. that's where we need jobs for GCP, data science, Java, Python. So I'm going over my time, so I'll just finish up with that. So Security Operations Center, Cortex, security is where we do, we have, it's not a core area, but it's a general area where we have jobs. We still have internships, and there you would need security knowledge of networking, CTFs, the stuff you're doing now. And we have 150 internship positions that are available every summer. Most of them have been filled now, but there's a couple that haven't in the QA and maybe in a DevOps environment. So that's all I have to say. I took in a lot of your time, so I'm sorry. I'm going over time, so I'll let you. I could talk for a long time, so I need somebody to pull the cane on me, which I think somebody did. So thanks.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. And for those that want to hear more about the jobs and products specifically, after we get through the briefings, you'll want to stick around here, and Jim will have some more time to talk about that. So thanks, Jim. All right, Air Force Civilian Service. Bob Hall, you're up, sir.
Very good. First, I'd like to just say good morning to everyone, and thank you, Casey, for the quick turnaround on how to make this happen for us. Really important, especially in today's environment, obviously, to understand how quickly we need to be able to change things. And as stated, I'm part of the Air Force Civilian Service, and one of the things that we are constantly saying is flexibility is the key to air power, and so that's absolutely true. What I'd like to do right here is just kind of give you an overview of the Air Force Civilian Service, and then as we break out, then we can talk a little bit more about specific positions and the needs for that. All right, but so that you can get an understanding about what Air Force Civilian Service is, you know, we're working shoulder to shoulder with the United States Air Force, the U.S. Space Force as well. That includes our active duty Air National Guard, Air Force Reserve folks. We do not wear uniforms. We don't go to basic training. We don't have a service commitment, but we're working with those people. And there's 170,000 civilians that support the Air Force mission. So it's, you know, the talent that you're bringing, the dedication that people have, that's going to help defend our nation and, you know, instill those values that make America great. You know, we do this through several different ways, whether it be, you know, you can, you know, whether it be an internship or coming in all the way up through what they call the senior executive service, or if you're familiar with the military, that'd be the general, the stars, the folks wearing stars, that level. And we do that in like 600 different career fields. And obviously cyber is a big thing there. Because it affects every position in the Air Force. Everyone's relying on people just like yourselves to make things happen for them, okay? The majority of the civilian service employees are, you know, placed based on experience, resume-based, that type of thing. But we do have positions, obviously, that are entry level based on education. And you know, something just to keep in mind is, you know, as far as qualifications go, I want to touch on that, is that you do have to be a U.S. citizen. You do have to be able to maintain, you know, obtain and maintain a security clearance. And as I said, we don't wear the uniform. And so only a few of our positions would require any type of physical exam or even a drug test. But you can rest assured that if you're in cyber, you're going to be drug tested. All right. But the security clearance is a big thing because that's what we're protecting. So you need to have that. Some of the things that we offer as far as benefits go, because, you know, we all love our job. And if you're doing what you love, they say that you would do it for free. But let's be honest, nobody really does, not at this level. So, you know, we do have competitive salaries, and depending on where you enter into the civilian service, what your salary would be, but you will get, you know, 10 federal holidays, 13 sick leave days, up to 26 days of paid vacation, vacation with pay. We offer insurance, and then of course retirement for those that stay with us that long. But certainly we understand, and we actually look for those people that are willing to move around and do different things, and you can actually stay right within the Air Force Civilian Service and change what you've done, moving on to different areas, whether, you know, in the IT world, there's a ton of them, whether you're a data engineer or a platform services expert or whatever it happens to be, okay? And as I said, you enter in several different programs. We do have the Air Force Premier College Intern Program. For those of you that aren't graduating this year but are graduating next year, you can apply for an internship. You'll work 8 to 10 weeks this summer, working on projects that we try to place you in where you can see it from start to finish. But you know, that doesn't always happen, but you're playing an integral role during that internship. Upon graduation, we have a recent grad program. It's called the Palace Acquire, or PAC, if you hear it called PAC. It's called the PAC program. We offer scholarships, you know, for, you know, to pay for your degrees, to the one that you're currently working on, or, you know, we'll pay for your master's as well. So really, that's kind of what Air Force Civilian Service does, and who we, you know, who we are, what we do it for. And like I said, you know, I mean, we're constantly advertising, we're constantly filling positions, whether you're a cybersecurity specialist, IT program manager, you know, monitoring management, IT programs, telecommunications. But like I said, we'll talk about a little bit more about that. And, you know, I just really look forward to working with the talent that you all bring. That's all that I have, Casey. We'll talk later.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. Okay, going to turn it over to Tevin and Greg from the 780th Military Intelligence Brigade. Gentlemen, let me stop sharing. And you all should be able to share now.
It's still saying host disabled.
Yeah, we were just up on the screen. I think we just got host disabled. I'm not sure if you can see or hear us at this point.
See your video.
You can see the video.
Try again.
There we go. You should see the screen now with the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks, Casey. Appreciate your leadership and your consistent drive in this arena for years, and also to the Mid-Atlantic team for your versatility and being able to switch on short notice to keep this competition going for this year. Congrats to the teams. It's a great experience that you're about to embark on for those that are doing it for the first time. And I think you'll whether you win or lose, you're going to gain some valuable insights and knowledge that you'll carry on with you upon to the commercial and government sector. So congrats to everybody that has made it this far. So who am I? My name's Greg Platt. I'm with the 780th Military Intelligence Brigade. I'm the responsible for talent management. Alongside me is my partner in crime, Mr. Tevin Greenwood. He is the senior technical recruiter and will do a lot of the interfacing with candidates who are interested in coming to work for us. So what is the 780th MI Brigade? Next slide, please. We are a Department of Army organization does what we call project power in cyberspace. And what does that mean? You know, when you're competing in the military, you have to have both offensive and defensive capabilities to succeed and win. The 780th is the Army's offensive component for cyberspace. So we operate predominantly in red space, malign actors and threat nations that are conducting actions against our national interests, and also in gray space, the means with which they traverse from their own networks into our networks. And so we don't operate in blue space, and so that's why we are considered the element that projects power and try to our interests in their domain, in their space, so that we can influence our timing and tempo of operations globally. We do this kind of in a number of different skill sets and in a number of different ways. which get to the opportunities within the brigade. And we really kind of break that down into three categories as we build out our organization. We're looking for our on-net operators, which are our nation state hackers. And I'll talk a little more about the skill sets associated with them in a minute. We're also looking for capability development specialists, our software engineers, the teams that create the capabilities that our operators use. And lastly, analysts. There are a variety of different flavors of analysts. I won't get into each one here, but those three main skill sets and the unique aspects which they working together as a team is how we execute our mission. Where do we do our mission? While it's executed globally, we have 4 physical locations that we conduct our missions from. Fort Gordon in Georgia, Joint Base San Antonio in Texas, and then Joint Base Schofield out in Hawaii. And just like was mentioned through the Air Force briefing, and you do require top secret clearances based on special background investigations and polygraphs. And so those will be part of the conditions of employment before you could start work. A little bit more about the 3 areas that you see here, what we're recruiting for. We really are, to our shortfalls and the tool developers. We're currently recruiting for our operations that are hosted in Georgia. And so while there may be limited opportunities for that is in Georgia. Like was mentioned earlier, if you are a C programmer, you are strong in assembly, those are the that we're looking for to be successful with the products that we develop and that class of employee. Our interactive operators, again, the nation state hackers, if you are, you like to pen test, you like the red teaming methodology and mentality, that's where your skill sets would be applied working for us. And then the analysts, again, a variety of different analysts that specialize in a number of niche areas that we train, by the way. We in all of these roles, we expect you to come in capacity as an entry-level employee, and we spend a lot of time grooming you, mentoring you, formally training you to qualify for the positions that we offer. And so look forward to talking with you more in the recruiting breakout sessions coming up that will give you a chance to ask some questions and specifically to these areas as well. Lastly, our website URL, in addition to cyberspaceskills.com, we also have armycyberwarriors.com that breaks out our benefit packages, our kind of salary, and a little bit more about the work that we do. So I encourage you to go visit those sites, and then we're standing by to answer any questions that you might have. Thanks, Casey.
Thank you, Greg. And those that want to get some more information from these fellows should stick around after the official debriefing. I should say briefing. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, SAIC, Ron and Rob, you're up. Ron.
All right, have I taken over?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So, hi everyone. SAIC is a Science and Technology Integrator. We are a contract company, and that means that we work with, as you can see where it says 3,000 contracts, that means we have 3,000 different customers, right? So, and about 60% of those require clearance. So DoD, intelligence agencies, federal and state civilian agencies, stuff like that. As well, you can see I'm wearing a NASA hat. Rob and I both work for a NASA contract where we support cybersecurity and IT operations. And there's about 6,500 other people in SAIC that support other space customers. And so that's a lot of NASA and a lot of the Air Force, the Department of Defense, the New Space Force. And let's talk about location real quick. Our headquarters is in Reston. There's about 77,000 employees in the National Capital Region, but we've got some other major hubs across the country. And then we do have work in every single US state and about 40 international countries. I'll show a map about that shortly, if I can get this to progress. We operate across all different technologies and sciences. So it could be anything from astrophysics to data analytics and data science. We do logistics for all the tires for the DoD, right? Drones, you name it. We're developing stuff like cyber offensive capabilities. We say, hey, you could do this thing, and then we never know if the DoD uses it or not. So there's a ton of different space, and I'm going to have this slide here up on the SAIC room that you'll see a slide on later, so that you can read it longer. I'm going to bounce into our career portal really quick so that I can show you what's going on with SAIC job-wise, because that's what a lot of you are interested in. If I expand the countries here after just hitting find jobs, you can see that at any given point in time, we have thousands of open positions across the US with SAIC. And so what's really interesting for you, if I type intern, you're going to see that even though this is a little bit late in the game, when it comes to applying to internships, there's still several positions out there that are newly posted that you could apply to still to get into something for the summer. And so I encourage you to go out and try to pick up a summer internship if you haven't, because that job experience is going to be awesome on your resume. And you already know that. I'm also going to do another search here. Actually, I've got it saved. We have a program that we call the College Leadership Program. Right here. Is everyone seeing my web browser screen? I want to make sure that.
No, just your.
You're still looking at PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second.
There you go. Perfect.
All right, I'm switching back real quick.
Now we see your map.
Okay. So SAIC works with, as I was saying, the Department of Defense, intelligence community, the intelligence community, so 3-letter agencies, and the federal civilian space. And I'm going to keep moving forward. We covered a lot of this already. So I told you where we're located, major hub-wise, and then international locations. So anywhere there's a military base overseas, we probably have a contract involved there. So Italy, Japan, the Middle East. And then let's go back to the career page here. So I mentioned earlier that if you just search on careers, you can see that we've got thousands of positions open across the US at any given point in time. Cyber, data analytics, hard sciences, there are hundreds of positions open across the US related to that. But if we do a search on intern, you can see that we've got some new postings here for various different internships that were posted in March. That means that they're still open for the summer. And these are going to be filled rapidly. I know that interviews are happening now for the summer. And so if you don't have an internship during the summer right now, I really encourage you to go out to all the companies that are part of the CCDC and search on their sites and find an open internship, because that resume experience is going to be critical. The one program that I want to highlight for you, especially new grads, is the SAIC College Leadership Program. This is a program that Rob Wheaton just went through. I've got him in chat with us today, and he's also in the SAIC meeting room. But primarily, this is a program with the possibility of obtaining a security clearance if you don't have one already. We bring you in and put you through 4 to 6 months of talent development, and that could be anything from certifications to learning all about SAIC internal operations, reaching across the company. And then we try to place you on rotating projects until we place you in your first real job with a direct contract customer. And so I'll leave this up. If you want to write it down, it's job ID 201837. And these interviews are happening right now. So I encourage you, if you're interested and you're graduating, to get into the SAIC room later and talk to me and Rob about the college leadership program. And that's all I've got. I can answer lots and lots of other questions. There's some stuff that comes up all the time, like how do I get a clearance? How do I search for jobs? Job-wise, I would say all these big companies in their job portals, if you register on their site, your profile, you'll be able to save searches that send you emails automatically when jobs are posted. That is one of the fastest way for you to not spend all of your time looking at stuff manually, right? So register on job portals, save the searches that get you the results that you're looking for so that they are emailing you instead of you having to go to every site individually. And I'll stop there for now and let us continue.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it. I posted in the chat room after this briefing ends. Again, we'll encourage folks that want to hear more about Palo Alto Air Force Civilian Service, 780th MI Brigade to stick around here, and then at that point, I encourage folks to go check out Raytheon SAIC, and last but not least, the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab. You can meet with their recruiters directly. So I'm not gonna share my screen. Up next is the folks from Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, and I'll let you just go ahead and share your screens. Perfect, looks good. Okay, over to you. Might need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was still muted.
No problem.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Nicole Anderson. I'm one of the college recruiters at APL. We're extremely excited to be participating in this virtual fair today and joining you and wish you the best of luck in the competitions. At APL, our motto is to be bold, do great things, and make the world a better place. And I truly believe APL is a great place to work. In fact, tomorrow will mark my 20th year of service at APL. The time seems to have just flown by. But I would like to spend just a few minutes, and I'll try to make this brief so we can get on to the additional breakout discussions and other Zoom meetings. But I'd like to share an overview of APL, and that will include what we are, what we do, what we offer, and who we are, which is really the reason that makes APL the great place that it is. So with that being said, can you see the next slide?
Looks good. About APL, yep.
Yes, perfect. So APL's been around for more than 75 years. We were founded back in 1942 with the mission of developing the VT proximity fuse. That was in support of US efforts during the World War II period. After the war, the Navy had requested the lab to then shift their focus on guided missile technology. And shortly a few years later, we became a permanent division of Johns Hopkins University. So our relationship with the university is we are a UARC, and as a UARC, or University Affiliated Research Center, we operate as an independent nonprofit organization that conducts essential research, development, systems engineering in support of national security and space exploration needs primarily. Our purpose is to provide critical contributions to critical challenges with systems engineering and integration, technology, research and development, and analysis. So our scientists and engineers and analysts serve basically as trusted advisors and technical experts to our government sponsors. Some of our sponsors listed here include the DoD, NASA, Department of Homeland Security, and the intelligence community. But our reputation is directly attributed to the high quality of our employees. So we focus on qualities that are essential for success, being knowledge, experience, and innovation. And currently we are supporting or employing more than 7,000 staff members. So our core values, our success and longevity are tied to these values, purpose and shared goals. We particularly call out unquestionable integrity, trusted service to our nation, world-class expertise, game-changing impact, and a collaborative and fulfilling and sometimes fun environment. Our goal is to create defining innovations that are going to ensure our nation's preeminence into the 21st century. So listed here are some of our primary mission areas, which are embedded into 4 of our technical sectors and 2 departments. The technical sectors being air missile defense, asymmetrics operations, force projections, and space exploration, and our 2 departments, national security analysis and the research and exploratory development departments. So we hire people for internships and full-time from recent bachelor's level all the way through PhD, recent grad, as well as experienced professionals. And we have a pretty strong intern program with more than 500 interns each summer. So in addition to having the opportunity to work on great technical projects and innovations that are of strategic importance to our nation, APL offers a pretty rich benefits package. Our total rewards include medical, dental, vision, life insurance coverage, and the life insurance coverage the lab contributes to, as well as the medical insurance. But I think the greatest benefits are the retirement, the work-life balance, and the lifelong learning benefits. So for our retirement benefits, the lab contributes up to 10.5% contributions after you've completed a year of service. Initially for the first year, it's 2.5%, but then after the first year, they match $2 to every dollar that you contribute up to 8% of your salary, which I know a lot of you are just entering the workforce saying, why is this important to me? But the lab definitely encourages you to take advantage of those opportunities and strongly invest in your future retirement. We also understand that employees do have interests and responsibilities outside of work, and they strongly support staff members as they navigate in balancing work and home, particularly now in the situation that we're in, but through its really rich working environment. So there's a number of amenities on campus. It's very much structured like a college campus. It's about 450 acres. And on site, we include on-site cafeteria catered by Sodexo. We have food trucks that come in a couple days a week. We have sports fields, picnic areas, and a state-of-the-art fitness facility. When we talk about leave benefits, all of our new employees start off with 3 weeks paid vacation, and they accrue additional weeks based on their number of years of service. When we talk about our culture, that really focuses on work-life balance in addition to wellness. We have on-site massage chairs and the fitness center that I'd mentioned. We also have a medical office. They offer free annual flu shots and cholesterol screenings. There's lots of events and seminars and things to promote adapting a positive lifestyle at the workplace. And finally, our last slide. I hope you certainly will agree after hearing briefly about APL that it is really a great place to work. We've been featured in many publications and recognized by Fast Company as one of 2020's most innovative companies. And we encourage you, if you want to learn more about APL and how you can become part of the innovative work that we're doing, to please join our Zoom meeting. The link is listed in the chat. And Casey, if you could post it as well. So we certainly believe that you have the necessary skills to help us meet the ever-changing needs of our sponsors, and we look forward to talking to you. So thank you for participating today.
Thank you. This is Jennifer with Raytheon. Casey actually had to step away for a few minutes. So in the interim, there will be a 10-minute break. But like we mentioned, all of the links for the Raytheon SAIC and Johns Hopkins APL, they are all in the chat. So feel free to start going into those chat rooms as well to meet with various members of the sponsors teams. And Casey should be back in a few minutes, and in about 10 minutes, we'll have set up for the remaining sponsors to further chat with the students as well. Thanks everyone for joining us today.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. Thanks to